Hello friends, today in this video we are going to talk about the whole drug discovery process. By the way, welcome to my channel. Now let's deal with the drug discovery process. I mean from the starting stage to the ending stage, what all the processes and what are the stages a drug process. So let's see now. So among this, first one, whatever we want to discuss is the step is drug discovery and the lead component selection. So in this drug discovery, it means that when an inventor discovers the drug, I mean, which is responsible for the action, so it discovers the drug. Then after the discovery, lead compound selection. So what does this mean here? Lead compound. Lead word indicates that it's the active pharmaceutical ingredient, that is the API, which is necessary for actual therapeutic activity of a whole medicine. So that compound has to be discovered. So that says the importance of a lead compound selection. So many processes we have, like we may do it. That, so this is about the first step in the drug discovery process is the lead compound selection. After the lead compound is selected, then it undergoes the preclinical testing. That means it's a biological activity check in vivo in animals. So before giving any drug to a person, I mean human, so first we need to get the safer properties of the drug. So to check the safety levels of the drug, whether it's fine at least to some extent. So we just check in the preclinical testing. It almost next comes as the chemical synthesis and the testing. So here in this whole process, we have three steps. First, any drug as a raw material, we cannot use it. It needs to be synthesized and developed in a proper way, right? So for this, we need to get synthesized the drug so that that processes chemical synthesis and testing. Then, after testing and synthesis of the drug, any drug we cannot take it as a raw. It has to be developed into something or else a dosage. Your drug, tablet or capsule or suspension or ointment, etc. So it needs to get developed into a dosage form. So for that reason, we check for this formulation to develop. So this is also the important step to get developed into a dosage form. Then after this next one, safety checking the animals. So after developing a dosage form, that is utilized in animals and they just go for the safety check. Then finally they say that till this finally they categorize the safety levels of a drug. So this is about the first half of the discovery process. So when we go for the next one, here comes as the IND application. So what does this IND means? Investigational new drug application. So what here we need to then for inventor or discoverers needs to file an application. So that is called as an IND application. I mean IND means investigational new drug. So they need to confirm that yes, it is a safer drug in the animals what we have performed. So we are choosing to go for and further clinical trials. So we want to conduct the further clinical trials as this is safer drug. It was identified as safer drug. So saying that if company or a manufacturer or the inventors, they file an application called as IND application. So after this IND, it scrutinizes everything and sees the safety results first of all. Then if it is okay, then it gives an IND approval. Then it occurs with the clinical test. That is about the clinical test. So this is about the IND process. Now we will learn about the main important stage in this drug discovery process. So that is the clinical phase. So these clinical phases are of four types. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. Actually, previously what we learned preclinical testing, I mean in animals in starting, so even that is a kind of phase 0 study. We call it also as a phase 0 or preclinical test. So after phase 0, we start with the phase 1. So let's see each phase in detail. So this is the phase 1. In this phase 1, mostly we need to discuss that it lasts for several days to few months. And here it involves 20 to 100 volunteers. You may think what the volunteers? Those who are willing to be performed by these clinical trials, they are called as volunteers, because voluntarily we are taking them by approval of the consent, by with the consent of them. So before this everything we need to have in the consent forms get signed by these volunteers. So then only we can go further. So those people are called as volunteers. Okay. So they are mostly to 20 to 100. And remember, friends, mainly here we require healthy people, healthy volunteers, and not the patients. Many people get confused, but with the first phase, in this first phase, we get started with the healthy volunteers to check the main, first of all, safety. And here, what we analyze is toxicity and safety. So mainly, we analyze this type of activity in the phase 1. So once the phase 1 is completed, we switch on to the phase 2. So in this phase 2, we have to discuss that it lasts for few months to years. We can't assure a correct months or correct years what's the time, but it may last few months or years also. And this involves some hundreds of volunteers. Okay? So it may be hundred, might not be a very large number in thousands, but it may restrict some hundreds. If a process is okay, then it go to thousands. So here hundreds of volunteers. And other important thing is in the first phase we perform with healthy ones, but here we just perform with some patients. Already he might be suffering with some problem. So whatever we are thinking to explore the problem, so those patients are chosen and those patients are given this dosage. And here we check efficacy, that is therapeutic exploration, right? Previously in the preclinical testing, we have checked what was the activity and safety levels in animals. So in this case, in human case also, we need to know whether it shows same action and same activity. So, in the regard of that, we do this case. So that is therapeutic exploration. Next comes as the phase 3. So this phase 3 generally lasts for 1 to 5 years almost. Yes. And it includes several thousands of volunteers, not in hundreds, but it includes a large number of the thousands of volunteers. Because we need to know the results in a wider angle. So that's why we employ thousands. And here also the thing to remember is we consider the patients, not the healthy persons, but patient volunteers. And what we check here is, even in the second phase we check efficacy, and even in the third phase also we check efficacy. Here we check dosage and efficacy, which is a therapeutic confirmation actually. The thing to be actually, it's not exploration, it's confirmation. Minute mistake. So confirmation. So we will confirm here in this phase 3 that yes, this drug is having this activity and it's got it's getting confirmed with this phase 3 level. So these are the 3 phases, and after these 3 phases, what are you thinking? Phase 4 might start again? No. Before this, we need to pass a drug need to pass another stage. So that's called NDA filing. What is this again, NDA filing? Previously we have learned IND, that's investigation new drug. But here also we have another application called NDA, that is new drug application. So this what it deals is, after a drug passes all the 3 stages of clinical trials, so company or sponsors or the inventors must assure that yes, this is my drug with these results. So I am willing to I am willing to market it into the, so I am willing to market it. So that's the confirmation what it needs to be given to the NDA authorization. That's why we need to file a application called NDA filing to market to get marketed into the wider angle of the distributors and shops and market level. So now, as the person inventor files the NDA filing, maybe three cases might happen. First one we see is generally FDA approval. If all the data and the safety levels and exploration, therapeutic levels and everything is fine with the results and it is satisfying the criteria, then the drug gets approval for its market. If not, there's another case that FDA conditional approval. It might maybe the drug might not be satisfying some criteria, so it just puts up the conditional approvals. If the conditions are satisfied, then it may again give the approval. So this is in case of both of the approval processes, and finally the drug will be into the market, which is called post-marketing surveillance. Okay. Then we have another case also, that is FDA disapproval. If the drug gets disapproved, what's the thing? What's the next thing to do? Don't worry, but what we need to do is again, NDA gives FDA generally gives again another chance to get revised. So we can the drug processes and another testing and everything can be done, can be revised, and then again we can file a NDA file. So that is again the process will be repeated and everything checking process is all normal. So this is about the NDA process. So once if the NDA approves the drug to be get into the market, then next will come into the picture as phase 4. Yes, so this is the last and final stage of a drug discovery process. So this is also called post-marketing surveillance. So it means that it's quite different from other phases because in the aspect that it's not 1 year or 2 years or year process because it's a continuous process in the market. Yes, it's a continuous process because in what way is like FDA collects the information secretly either from the through various channels actually. It's either from the distributor or from the manufacturers or the inventor or from the any pharmacies, etc. Regarding the adverse effects, what are the serious and adverse effects of the related to that drug, so that it might so that if it is okay, it will sustain the market. If it is not satisfying the criteria, it has to undergo a process of recall. So here safety reports are always an observation whether the drug is safe in large angle of people, or else it's not safe. Everything is checked and large numbers are included. There's no 1 or 2 or 1,000, but it's large numbers. So adverse effects are being identified all the way, all the thing. So this is in continuous phase 4. And so some people say even the phase 5 activities also happen. Mainly we need to remember till phase 4. So friends, this is all about the drug discovery process and its approvals.